We've all been promised this amazing future where our cars just upgrade themselves overnight, kind of like our smartphones, right? But if you've been paying attention, you've probably noticed that future is a little late to the party. Today, we're going to dig into why this whole software revolution in the car world has hit some pretty serious speed bumps.
And look, that's not just a hunch. It's what the industry itself is saying. This quote right here, it really sets the stage perfectly. It says that 2025 is looking like a year of struggle for the big automakers when it comes to delivering these software-defined vehicles. So despite all the big promises, what is actually going on behind the curtain?
So you've got this huge divide, right? On one side, you have the promise, the dream. I mean, think about it. Your car getting better while you're asleep, with cool new features just beamed down from the cloud. It's an awesome vision, and yeah, it's one that companies like Tesla and Rivian have really pushed. But then, smack, you hit reality. For the traditional car makers, it's a story of major program delays, scrapped projects, and just a constant exhausting game of catch-up. This gap between the promise and the reality, it's huge, and believe me, it is costing them a fortune.
All right, before we dive any deeper, let's just make sure we're all on the same page. You're going to hear this term a lot, software-defined vehicle, or SDV. So what does that actually mean? Well, think of it like this. It's a car that's built more like a computer on wheels. The software is the boss, not the hardware. It's the software that controls the main features and functions. And that is the magic key that unlocks all those cool over-the-air updates and new services we're talking about. It's the whole ballgame.
Okay, so the vision is clear, right? The tech is there. So, what's the holdup? Well, the real diagnosis points to something a lot deeper, something that goes way beyond just writing code. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. These are giant, multi-billion-dollar companies. Maybe they're just not throwing enough money at the problem. But here's the twist. It has almost nothing to do with a lack of resources. Nope. Here's what's really going on. And we've got reports from major players like SAE and McKinsey backing this up. The real roadblocks, they're cultural, they're structural. I mean, we are talking about a product development culture that's been around for 100 years, and it's just smashing head-on into the super fast, constantly changing world of software. Their org charts, their old, clunky tech architectures, even the way they test things, it's all part of this deep-rooted system that's holding them back.
So, let's stop talking theory for a second and look at how this stuff is playing out in the real world. Because these aren't just abstract ideas on a slide. No, they are creating very public and very expensive headaches for some of the biggest names you can think of.
And look at the scale of these setbacks. It's just mind-boggling. You've got Ford, who reportedly had to cancel a whole new vehicle architecture after spending, get this, $10 billion. Then there's GM, shelving parts of its big Altify software platform while executives are heading for the door. And Volkswagen, their big software division, Cariad, has struggled so much that they're now having to partner up with outsiders like Rivian and XPeng just to get things done. These are not small bumps in the road, folks. These are massive, costly, public course corrections.
And, all this chaos really boils down to a culture clash, a people problem. On one side, you have this constant brain drain of experienced car engineers, the people who actually know the nuts and bolts of building a safe, reliable vehicle. And on the other side, a lot of the hotshot executives they brought in from Silicon Valley to shake things up, well, they're leaving too. What you get is this chaotic, revolving door of talent, and that just grinds progress to a halt.
All right, so the diagnosis is pretty rough, I get it. But it is not all doom and gloom, not at all. The industry is definitely waking up to these big challenges, and you can start to see a new path forward beginning to emerge. And the absolute key idea, the big takeaway, is this. You have to build a bridge, not try to do a transplant. You can't just airlift Silicon Valley culture, drop it into Detroit or Germany, and hope it takes. It just doesn't work that way. The real solution, it's about mutual respect. It's about blending the tech world's genius for software with the auto industry's 100 years of hard-won knowledge and safety, security, and, actually building millions of complex things that work. And on top of that big idea, some other really smart strategies are starting to pop up. For one, companies are finally starting to work together on open source projects. I mean, why should everyone try to reinvent the exact same wheel, right? We're also seeing this move toward what's called a right-sized SDV approach. Basically, instead of this crazy, risky plan to change everything all at once, they're being more pragmatic. They're focusing on what can deliver real value to you, the customer, right now.
using stuff that already works. It's a much smarter, step-by-step approach.
Okay, we've talked a lot about corporate struggles, weird technical terms, culture clashes, but why should you, the person who just wants to drive a cool car, actually care about any of this? Well, because at the end of the day, it all boils down to one simple thing.
I mean, let's be real for a second. Have you ever walked into a car dealership and asked about the zonal architecture? No, of course not. That's just geeky insider talk. All the internal drama and the technical jargon, it's completely meaningless to the person who's actually driving the car. So what's the bottom line? What do we as drivers actually want?
Well, here it is. This is the real test. We want updates that just work, period. No glitches, no headaches. We want our cars to be a seamless part of our digital lives. Our phones, our apps, everything should just connect. We want it to be affordable, and above all else, we want it to be safe and reliable. It sounds simple, but getting this right is the incredibly difficult bullseye they have to hit. And this quote just sums it all up so perfectly. SDV can't just be a trendy marketing buzzword. It's not the destination, it's the vehicle, pun intended, to get us somewhere better. It's the means to an end. And that end has to be a car that offers new experiences and real value to us, the customers. If it doesn't do that, then the whole thing is a failure. So that leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? The race is on and the stakes are incredibly high. The real challenge, as we've seen, isn't about the code. It's about the culture. So will these traditional car makers manage to build that bridge to the future? Or will they get left behind, stick on the hard shoulder of innovation? We'll have to wait and see.